mark any place in your project, like the beginning of the round, for example, without using a stitch marker, find a slippery yarn or thread that is much thinner than the working yarn that you're using and is in a contrasting color. Then cut a piece that is about 20 to 30 centimeters long, that's 8 to 12 inches. And that's your new gadget. We can use the strand as is, but because the yarn is slippery, it could get out of the work quite easily. So we're gonna improve it to prevent it from happening. Make a slip knot at each end of the strand, just a simple slip knot, nothing complicated. And then take 2 locking stitch markers or pins or even paper clips will do, anything, and place each pin or stitch marker into that loop. 1 stitch marker at one end of the strand and the other stitch marker on the other end. And tighten the slip knots. Now the strand is not going anywhere. It's not going to slip out of your project. Now let's see how we're going to use it. Simply place the strand into the space between stitches where you want to mark the spot, or where otherwise you would place a stitch marker, just like this. And because I'm working in the round, I'm going to push the other end through the fabric down. And then work the next round or row, because this method works well in all situations where we usually use a stitch marker. When you get to the end of the round, you will know already where the end of the round is, because you will see that there's this strand sitting right there and showing, hey, stop here. Then take the strand, the end of the strand that's hanging at the back of the work, and bring it over the fabric and to the front. That's it. And then work another round. And again, the strand will tell you where to stop. Here's the strand, that's the end of the round. Now move the yarn to the right so it doesn't get in the way of the strand, and take the same end of the strand that you flipped one round ago and bring it to the back of the work. Just like this. And continue to work on your project, remembering to flip the strand back and forth after every round. Soon you will see that the strand gets neatly woven into the project. You will also see that as it gets woven into the project, it gets shorter. So if the strand gets really short and it is hard to flip it, you don't have any strand left basically, then undo the stitch marker, the pin or whatever you put in here, and remove it from the slip knot that you made at the bottom of the strand. Undo the slip knot and pull the strand up until you release almost all of it. You still have a few passes left here, and pick the pass that is the closest to the needles to find that other end of the strand. Then make another slip knot and place the pin, the locking stitch marker, or a paper clip back in place. There you go. Now the strand became much longer. When the project is finished and you want to take it out of the work, do the same thing. Undo the stitch marker or a pin, undo the slip knot, and simply yank the strand out of the work. As you see with this type of marking, nothing slips off the needles and gets lost like stitch markers often do. Nothing digs into your palm because there is nothing on the needle, and you can do whatever you want with the work, even if you have to do something that happens, let's say, at the end of the round, between the first and the last stitches of the round. For example, when you want to take care of the jog, if you work in a color pattern. If you find this tutorial helpful, please subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon to be notified every time I publish a new video. Happy knitting, my friend. I'll talk to you in the next tutorial.